So anyway, we are back. Both of us are here. Charlie has not been here.
Because of Donald Trump.
No, I heard it was because of Chuck Schumer.
Even though Donald Trump's not in Congress.
Yeah.
But because of Donald Trump, air traffic controllers are not getting their SNAP benefits. And so they can't show up to work. That's what I heard.
That's the exact story. I see that you've been away from the news, but I do see you still kept up on the exact story.
Exactly. Yeah. And so allegedly that's what delayed us an hour. We were delayed an hour. But luckily it was, like I said, a quick 40-minute flight. We barely went up and then we came down.
Yeah. I heard you could have driven here.
Those are the best ones, honestly.
Those are real nice. Okay, so it's Dumb Bleep of the Week. That's what we do on Fridays. Charlie's been gone all week. That was a surprise to me that I found out Monday morning, I'm pretty sure. But that you weren't going to be here this week.
Well, I told you at the beginning of the month, but I hadn't updated you.
I hadn't kept my calendar very well. So anyhow, I only did 2 shows while you were gone because I was a little bit sick. But now we're going to do Dumb Bleep of the Week. That's the day of the week where the live group Fed Haters Club gets together and votes for the dumbest things that happened in politics over the last week. Thank you guys in the Fed Haters Club and girls in the Fed Haters Club so much for being here with us today. And if you haven't joined, you should join because it is a fun bunch of people. Some people love Charlie. Some people hate him in the group. There's fine people on both sides. I think we know everything that we need to know right now. Dumbest things that happened this week. We're going to start right meow.
Right meow.
So yesterday I did an hour-long show, just me talking about different stuff related to SNAP because people are upset about the SNAP thing right now. Today is the last day that poor people are allowed to eat food. And so starting tomorrow, they'll have to start going hungry. I make a joke out of that because that's what we do in situations. But there are people who do need their SNAP benefits and rely on their SNAP benefits. Okay, so it's going to be tough times maybe for like a week or so for that group of people. So that's your overview on what's going on with SNAP. I haven't seen any new news pertaining to it today. So people are upset about it. And
everyone's dying as far as I can tell.
Yeah, they're going to starve. I'm always like, and I haven't been super poor for a long time, but I'm always like, you're going to like start starving. Like if you can't go grocery shopping on EBT day, that's it. You're out. Did you literally just use the last can of soup? Does everyone not have like
and
those?
By the way, I'm going to use my $1,500 smartphone to take a video of it and post it on through my internet
that you have
that
also.
I have that probably cost me $100 a month. So that way I get the message out to everyone.
Yeah, I do.
It's like
I know it must be easy for us to say, but there's a hierarchy of needs for your family. And I'm not saying like, oh, this is super easy or whatever, but in my opinion, like food should be right up there towards the top. Like you need to have a place to put your food and to sleep in. And so you got to have like a house. You probably need electricity, but you got to have food. And so it's got to be up there on the list. And it needs to be up there above a lot of other things that you're paying for when it comes to whether or not your family's going to starve. I'm going to start by identifying the problem before we go through the first 4 dumbs, which all have to do with SNAP. Okay.
I just want to say one thing of the things I've seen so far. I would say, what is there, an estimated 42 million people on SNAP?
We see different numbers. It's between 40 and 45.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
I would think like, let's say at the highest level, like this is grossly over exaggerating. I think of people who actually like need it would be like 10% of those people.
Of that number?
Yeah. So you're around 4 million people may actually like really need those benefits. Otherwise, like they would go kind of hungry. The other 30 to 40 million people are just, it's been in their budget for a long time now. So they're like, oh, we never have to worry about food ever. So now we can spend our other money on other kinds of stuff. And then and they never consider like, well, what if I lose these benefits or what if I have to work for these benefits? Like,
yeah,
like I am so like against taking handouts from the government that I imagine myself like in the situation and be like, if my child was going to starve, I can guarantee you, like, I would sell my cell phone before that ever happened.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have internet because my money would be going towards food. I would find a way to grow a garden or something. I would find a way to feed my family. And these people act like it's going to be the end of the world as they're using expensive equipment to share it to the world.
Yeah.
And that's something that really bothers me. I'm not saying that there aren't a few people out there who probably really need it, which, by the way, we have, churches and food banks and all kinds of stuff that help people who are hungry. But it's the people who are making videos about it, I think, are the entitled ones. And that's what really irks me the wrong way, because you probably are capable enough to like find a way to feed your family and you just don't want to. And you think that we owe you that. And then the arrogance of people.
That's stumbling at number 4.
Oh, I'm just going right into it.
Yeah, you're already doing
Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
No, I got an hour to get all this off my chest yesterday. So
you want to start on number 4?
Well, I did. So I wanted to talk about one thing that you said, which is about 10% of those people you would say need it. There's a difficulty.
Also, that's an over exaggeration, by the way. I'm being generous.
Well, so I do want to point out to everyone. This is kind of we'll talk about more numbers here later. 39% of the people that receive SNAP benefits are children.
No, they don't.
Huh?
No, they don't. It goes to their parents.
Well, sure. They're, to use at a grocery store to buy food for their kids.
You think that's what they do it for? You think that's how they use it?
I'm just telling you where the roadblocks you run into when talking about this. 19.5% of the people are over the age of 60 that are on this, because the other welfare programs we have are not good enough, I guess. And so that ends up equaling what do those two things come together to equal? 57% of the program, 58% of the program goes to children and the elderly. And then 41.6% of the program goes to people who are between the age of 18 and 59. So I saw someone just asked if we're recording. It's actually pretty tough to tell because we haven't even gone into the dumbs yet. So, we're just talking because we haven't had a chance to talk about this stuff.
No.
So identifying the problem here, our total spending.
Saying you miss me?
Yeah, it's nice to actually be able to talk about stuff,
too.
Spend this, dig in on things.
You probably didn't miss me interrupting.
I did. I missed the whole thing, the whole shebang. What I didn't miss was having to remember to press buttons, because when you're not here, I just do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's it. SNAP, what we spend total on SNAP, adjusted for inflation, has gone up from $60 billion in 2019, the year before the pandemic, to $100 billion in 2024 after the pandemic. And that, some rough back of the napkin math, is an increase of 66%.
Jesus.
Inflation adjusted. That's not because we had inflation. That is taking the inflation into account. It has gone up by 66% since the year before the pandemic. And then remember that I've got more inflation adjusted numbers. Before the pandemic, the amount that we gave per person per month was $160, and now the number is $190. That takes into account inflation already. You might be thinking, well, food inflation, of course they're going to get more. No, that already takes that into account. If you're talking nominal money, then the number was 129 in 2019, and it's 190 now. So we're paying 66% more per year for this program. And at the same time, of course, that is equaled. Everyone who is on the program is getting more money than they've ever, well, I can't say than they ever, because during the pandemic, they did a bunch of stuff outside of the pandemic era than they've ever gotten, which is $190 per person as the official numbers. That's an issue, okay? But the first thing is whether or not SNAP boosts the economy. This is one that I talked about yesterday. This is something Democrats are trotting out right now as, while you don't want to take these away because actually it will hurt the economy. And this screenshot of CNN was going around saying SNAP boosts the economy, each $1 in benefits during a downturn raises GDP by $1.54.
Now, what's interesting, what they wrote actually is kind of true. Because when the government spends money, it does increase GDP because we count that in the GDP, even though technically we shouldn't.
It does. And there's a reason it says during a downturn, because during downturns, during these recessions, things like that, they typically print money or they borrow a bunch of money. And so that newly created money out of thin air, they say, well, we just create this money and then we give it to people and they throw it into the economy afterwards. And that, in fact, is a boost for the economy because that's new money going into the economy. The study, because I looked
and
at
that does technically raise the GDP calculation, but most people don't understand it.
No, well,
they assume that basically if you spend $1 in SNAP benefits and the economy actually does better by 54%, 54% better.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of videos on this. They're like, oh yeah, look at this. But you all know, all of you know that listen to this show, like if this were true, why are we not giving every person $1 trillion in SNAP benefits? And that way,
just do that.
That way our GDP would be, 400 trillion.
Yeah.
And we would be by far the richest nation to ever exist ever in the history of the world.
The government would tax 17% of that GDP, and then we would have enough money to pay off the debt and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Be amazing.
In a year. Just do it in a year. Let's sign the bill tomorrow. Why don't we do that?
I don't know why we're not doing it.
The thing that this study does not account for, because I looked at the study, is they do not account for where that dollar comes from. And they might say during a downturn because that means it was printed or it was borrowed, but they never go the next step, which is what happens when you have to pay back that borrowed money, or what happens when there is inflation from printing the money. They don't do that in that study. They never account for needing to pay back that dollar, and they especially don't account for what if it's not a downturn and what if this is just $1 of taxation that gets taken from the economy. It's already in the economy. It's right there. Yeah. You took it and then you put it elsewhere in the economy, and they say that makes the economy better. And that's not something that happens. So even the people who, like Tim Walsh, who are out there touting this stat and raising the number on it also, the people who are out there touting this stat are completely ignoring the fact that the studies themselves say that that's during a recession when they are printing new money or borrowing money. And then, of course, they're not going to talk about paying that back.
And also,
at all.
The other thing they leave out is it's only temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's go with his numbers. That extra 80 cents that you gain in temporary economic activity, let's say that that's true for a year or two, that's going to end up costing you $5 in the future.
Yeah.
They don't take any of that into account. This is that modern monetary theory garbage, Fugazi, racist math. Yes. They don't. There's a continuum here. You have to look at today and then tomorrow and then a week from now and then there's a year from now and then there's 10 years from now, and life keeps moving, and you have to factor those numbers into the math, but they just don't want to do it. They want and it's shocking because this isn't that difficult, but it goes over so many people's heads. It's infuriating, and it's because most people are just economically illiterate.
You know what?
They don't have a clue.
It's not even their fault for being economic illiterate.
No.
That's who wants to spend their time thinking about this stuff. You got more important things
besides
in your life.
Us.
I love it. When I tell you what, I took a couple days off. I spent a lot of time just digging into Snap. And I'm like, oh, a study? Awesome. Let's look at this study. Give me them limitations on that study. I need to read them limitations.
And for all you Gen Zers out there, we're not talking about Snapchat. All right. This is Snap, the government benefits.
Yes. Yeah.
So Snapchat isn't getting any subsidies or anything like that. It's not like I don't even know how to use Snapchat really. Do you post stories on there?
I have no idea.
It's not like if you send a snap that generates $1 in the economy.
I don't understand Snapchat at all.
Somebody help us.
I think the CIA made it for some reason.
Costco?
Probably. I don't get it. Okay, that's number one. It does not boost the economy. Oh, by the way, there are other studies that take into account that dollar has to either be paid back or it needed to be taxed out of the economy in the first place.
Stolen.
And those studies found that it was actually a negative for the economy.
Imagine that.
So Anyhow. All right. The next one, if you thought those were bad numbers, the next one's just called Bad Stats 101. Okay. Now, maybe, Charlie, when you hear this, because I showed it to Lacey last night and she was like, well, I can see, it's a little confusing. I can see how people would get this confused. And she's a finance person who does numbers for a living.
Oh, God.
And she was like, I can see how people get that confused.
Oh, no.
So we're talking about who gets these benefits. All right. And as I explained yesterday, my issue with getting this question wrong is that if you decide that it's this group of people getting the benefits, and if you cut them out, you're going to solve all the problems, and there goes our deficit, and America is solved at that time, then you're going to fight really hard for that and not change a single damn thing at all. And so I can't get behind it as a solution to the problem because there's no numbers to back up that stuff. But anyway, here's this guy on Newsmax doing what should have gotten him fired, which is saying this minute's worth of words.
There are 42 million people in this country that need food stamps on a weekly basis. And we're saying people deliberately instead of Americans, because most of the people that are on food stamps aren't even from this country. 45% of Afghanistan immigrants are on food stamps, 42% of Somali immigrants, 34% of every immigrant from Iraq, 23% of Haitians, 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans. Think about that.
I did think about it, okay? And I thought so hard about it, I looked up the stats he was citing, and I got details and all that. And that was just a whole bunch of bull malarkey combined with...
Is this what Lacey got confused?
Yeah. Because you're talking about percentages of percentages, first off. So he shows all the Afghan, Somali, Iraqi, Haitian. This is the percentage
of that group.
It's of that group. And that group, those people, all of those combined together are almost no one. But Afghan is actually the largest percentage by group that gets SNAP.
How many Afghan immigrants do we have?
It's like
100,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're the largest group.
But he says at the end that almost 60%
he says 59%. That's a different stat. I'll show you too.
Are people that are immigrants or
he
illegal
says
immigrants?
59% of, how did he say it? Let's make sure we.
Now, the way he's displaying this is going to make a lot of people think that
illegal aliens.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he says. So he does say illegal aliens, and that I went through a bunch of this data yesterday, but you're talking about percentages of other percentages. And so when he talks about all those are people that are here because they are refugees or asylum seekers. Why are they refugees? I didn't even talk about this yesterday. Because we blew up their shit. That's why.
Yeah.
All right.
We dropped bombs on their houses.
Do you know we bombed Somalia like 90 times this year?
Yeah.
Something around in there.
Yeah. We haven't stopped since like 2000.
It's pretty crazy.
It's like 2000.
It's like that's the black budget of the Pentagon is just bombs for Somalia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not Haiti. We didn't blow up Haiti. Okay. That was climate change that did that.
Yeah.
No, these countries have their own problems as well. It's not all the fault of the U.S. Afghanistan and Iraq,
Melissa.
I would place that pretty squarely on the United States. The other thing where he says 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps. First off, that is absolutely wrong, because even the 59% stat is not about food stamps. It is about any form of welfare. Okay, so I actually pulled this stuff up here. Here's the 59% number. Welfare use by nativity and legal status. 59% illegal headed households are getting any welfare. So this comes from CIS. That's the Center for Immigration Studies, CIS.org.
Well, so if you want to look at food though, which is SNAP benefits, 48%.
Mm-hmm.
That's a high number. I mean,
of illegal food is not SNAP benefits. The biggest portion of that are lunches at school. That also counts as welfare in this study. So if you get free lunch at school, you're counted in the food welfare.
Gotcha.
And that is 42% of that 48% are school lunches. 17% of it was SNAP, I believe. But what people got to remember is that if you're an illegal immigrant and you come here and you have kids, still right now in 2025, your kids are American citizens and they are eligible for things that American citizens are eligible for. And so if you come here and let's say you can't get a job or your job doesn't pay enough or your money's not on paper, nothing like that, and you're able to get those SNAP benefits, your kids can technically qualify for those. They prorate it. They make sure it's only for, clearly you can use the money for whatever you're going to use the money for. Okay. But normally if you got it and you had kids, say it's a family of 4, they count the 4 people that they give the money to if everyone's an American citizen. Okay. If it's illegal immigrants and they have US born children and they apply for the food stamps, they only give it for 2 people, not for the family of 4. And then ICE comes to your house and they deport the whole family. And so that's so there's a reason they put illegal headed households, because if you were to put people by their individual status, you would see that most of these illegal immigrants are not getting the benefits. So you put illegal households because they could have U.S. children or they could be married to a U.S. citizen, something like that. And that U.S. citizen could qualify for SNAP benefits or any other kind of welfare. And now your household receives welfare. Now you might not be counted in that statistic.
Illegal immigrant.
Yes. So that's, and then there's some people that just get some stuff super embarrassingly wrong. This one was going around and says food stamps by ethnicity. At the top, it shows Afghanistan. 45.6% of Afghan immigrants are getting SNAP. This person says, look how Somalia, Afghanistan, and Caribbean people are above United States people getting food stamps. This bleep needs to be cut as soon as possible, like now. And the really funny mistake in this one is that right here, 27.6%, it shows an American flag and it says Native. And those are Native Americans. Just so you know. So this one depends on, because I did some research and backed up that stat. And it's like, yeah, that's Native Americans that are getting SNAP, 27.6%.
So what you're saying is we need to restrict voting.
Yes.
You should be able to pass a certain a basic statistics test.
Mm-hmm.
Is what you should be able to pass in order to vote.
It just depends on what you decide you want to call an American, I guess. Like right here where it says black, it's probably Americans. Probably, I would say. Because they separate out the Somalis.
Yeah.
So if it just says black, it's probably people who are Americans. This one's a little bit dumber. I'll show you the stat here in a second. This was a massive post that was the biggest, it was all of millions of views on this post. Okay. It says only 18.7% of EBT or food stamp recipients are American. Let that sink in. 81.3% of people getting free food from the government in this country are not American citizens. We are subsidizing foreigners on the taxpayer's dime. Let's cut 81.3% of EBT tomorrow. You might be wondering, where'd they get 18.7%? It's right here where it says Armenian.
This isn't real. Also, can people not do simple math?
Oh, did you get, yeah.
Like, okay, if you take Afghan and Somalia and Iraqi, you're already over 100%.
Over 100%, yeah.
So this isn't a percentage
of total welfare benefits. It's a percentage of each group that gets it. But one really funny part about that, actually, I'm glad you said that. All the way down here where the real Americans are, Charlie.
Armenians?
No, white. It says white.
Where?
Right down here at the bottom, it says white. 8.6% of white Americans or white households. I think this was households. I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
percentage of U.S. households receiving SNAP. 8.6% of households, white Americans. Now, the best way to explain this to people is most of the people, the biggest portion of people who get food stamps
White
are
Americans.
white people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not, it's 35% of the benefits go to white people. Now, people like to break that down in the per capita stuff because they say, well, 35% of the benefits go to white people and 25% of the benefits go to black people. See? Or white people, you know.
Well,
white people are like 60% of the population, black people are 13% of the population. And so that if you looked at it per capita, but whatever, just stop posting out your stupid stats is what I'm saying. I don't expect people to know these things. I expect them to not act like they know these things. You don't just make fun of someone on the street, be like, you're bad at statistics and numbers. But when someone's like, hey, millions of people, here's the wrong answer.
Then you get to be
you make fun of that person.
Then you get to be on Dumb Bleep of the Week.
Yes. Some of the stats I just said down here at the bottom: white, not Hispanic, 35.4%. And this is actual participants. By participant, this is not households. This is by each single individual who receives SNAP, not by household, which is how all sorts of economic stats get screwed up by doing household statistics. 35.4% are white, 25.7% are African American, and then all the other races. Okay, number 3, real quick. Whether or not it's the government's job, and this is important for the next thing we're about to talk about. As I said yesterday, Charlie, that if the government were to have a program like this, the point of the program should be to keep people from starving. Like that, let's make sure that we don't have starving people in America.
Temporarily.
Temporarily. And there are some job requirements and stuff like that. And of course, people find ways to get around. Like if you're looking for a job, they'll be like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a friend who was on SNAP for fun. Just she found out she could get on it. That was it. She made plenty of money, but it was, I'm trying not to identify. It was doing stuff on the side. Not like how that sounds either. Okay. And so like just
she worked at a massage parlor.
Yeah, just a cash income. Okay. And so she was like, oh, I found out I can get SNAP, because the household doesn't make much money here. And so
on paper.
Yeah. And so she would get SNAP and then we would all eat way better stuff than we would normally eat because it was just used to get treats. It was just used to get steaks and lobster and stuff like that. That's what it was used for. Anyhow, that part doesn't matter. This person says, what did people do before SNAP? They died. Healthcare, vaccines, disability support, education, and food assistance are vital to our survival. That's why the average lifespan isn't 35 anymore. The mark of a good and decent society is whether it sees the value in helping others. I do think.
Now, what was the average lifespan whenever the year before SNAP was introduced?
Well, Charlie, it was 69.7 years.
Oh, God.
So it's gone up a bit, and basically the reason it's gone up is because we cut out all the people who starved to death.
Yeah, that's why.
That's what it was.
So before SNAP was even introduced, the lifespan had doubled.
Yeah, from that 35.
From that 35 number.
Which the lifespan stats, as I looked more into them, they need to be separated out a little bit more because what really drags down the lifespan stats are infants dying. And basically, like if you can get better at caring for infants, then it turns out it's not that a person who made it into their 20s was still destined to die at 35 or at 40. They still would live into their 60s and 70s, stuff like that. But the fact that so many infants died that it drug down the entire number. So it's...
I mean, we've been going backwards since Moses anyway. Moses was like 900 something.
This person said...
Could you imagine living almost 1,000 years?
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Brandon Bradford with 2 million views on this post. I'm always mad when I see so many views on posts. So I'm like,
you just got to be dumber.
I know.
If you were just dumber, viral would take off.
The dumbest things. That's what works.
Maybe see a lot of times I have hope for society, and I always think to myself, I want to encourage people that they have, that, they're capable, of doing certain things, and then I'm reminded that they're not. And so, what should we be doing? Remember, all these people we talk about on Dumb Bleep of the Week, they vote.
They do.
Like more than likely because they're involved politically. So,
and Kamala Harris says we should lower the age down to 16.
Of course.
So she identified the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing more prevalent than a 16-year-old socialist.
Before we get to what is Dumb Bleep number 5, we'll finish up number 3.
Okay.
This person says, it actually is 100% the government's job to make sure you are housed and fed. It is in society's best interest. You are stable, educated, and healthy. And here's another one who's responding to someone that said, it's not the government's job to feed you. This person said, I don't know what the point of government is at all, if not to provide food, shelter, healthcare, and education. To which I would say they shouldn't be doing that, so let's just get rid of it. You know, that whole thing.
Yeah. Well, once we get food, shelter, healthcare, education, it'll be, money.
Yeah, it'll be fine. You
Cell
got everything
phones,
you need.
Cars.
Yeah, everything you need.
The right to drive a Tesla.
That's why we made a government in the first place.
Yeah.
Was to make sure that people had houses and food.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they signed the whole thing over. That's what it was about. Now, the point of the government is, I'll just boil it down. It's to protect the private property rights of its citizens, honestly. Even when it comes to things like defense, if you think it's important, federal government-wise, to collect money from all the states and to have a military. If that's, if you think that's important, that's still to protect the citizens' private property rights. So that is the main job of a government. That comes down to theft, that comes down to murder, rape, all kinds of stuff, contracts, business dealings, all sorts of stuff. It comes down to protecting the private property rights of its citizens. That is the job. Doing all of these things are actually saying that the government's job is to violate the private property rights of its citizens, and that's not the case.
Yeah,
at all. Like you said, where are they going to stop?
When are people going to learn that this socialist stuff doesn't work?
They're not. There'll be brief periods of generations that learn this, Charlie. But think about the catastrophes that happened under socialism and communism in just the 1900s, and some people learned for a bit, but it just comes right on back around right afterwards. So I think there will be generations of people in different parts of the world that learn at different times.
It just, the entitlement and how can you even feel good about yourself? You sit back, relax, and be like, oh, got a government house, got, government food, government healthcare, government education. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
All that government stuff. What's your incentive to contribute anything to society if your needs or wants are taken care of? What's the point in building a successful business? What would be your incentive?
Everyone's going to do everything for the good of society, Charlie. You're thinking about greedy people whose incentive is to make money, and we're going to neutralize those people.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Still on number 3, real quick. This was going around. I talked about it a bunch yesterday. This screenshot was going around of on Amazon. One of the things that SNAP EBT eligible are lobster tails. I did point out also these are tiny lobster tails. First off, it's $10 for 4 lobster tails. That's $2.50 an ounce. There's 4 ounces of lobster tails right there. So it's very tiny. And this post is really popular. Like, why are we subsidizing lobster tails? And someone else was like, why are we subsidizing a giant thing of chocolate chip cookies? And I yesterday was like, why are we subsidizing a 12-pack of energy drink for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program? And many people have had responses to this that did really well. And they're like, well, lobster tails are food. This person's like, well, the logical conclusion is, of course, being poor means you deserve never-ending punishment. You should not be allowed even the smallest joys or comforts. This is someone like against our position on this, or my position anyway, because I haven't talked to Charlie about it. Your every waking moment should be miserable. You should eat gruel, and your only entertainment should be roach gazing. You can do other stuff. you want. You could
play
fine.
outside,
Yeah.
maybe climb a tree.
Go outside, slap your knees on the corner or whatever. I don't know.
Could roll down a hill. That was fun.
You could
when we
do
were
that.
kids, you know.
Could do that kind of thing. My biggest bother with this, because it seems to be cruel to say that if you're on SNAP, your options should be severely limited, which is an idea that I hold to. My problem with this is that SNAP is supposed to keep your family fed. Like, you can't feed your family. And so you're going to take money from someone else who's also trying to feed their family, and they're going to help feed your family. Yesterday, Charlie, you weren't here for it, but I gave the analogy of imagine you don't have any money to pay for food at the grocery store, but there's someone's like, hey, I'll pay for your food. Let's go shopping. And so the person walks to the grocery store with you, and you're picking stuff off the shelf, because they're going to help you pay for it. Would you really pick lobster tails and a 12-pack of energy drinks or whatever?
Well, yeah, once you find out someone else is paying for dinner, you order the most expensive thing on the menu. Come on, Nate.
The problem is because people are like, well, these people still have to feed their family. So if they spend this money on lobster tails or they spend their money on energy drinks or whatever, they still have to get food for their family. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. They're going to use their money for that.
When they're eating, Nate, they enjoy watching The Deadliest Catch. And so they got to support the lobster catchers.
Well, it's good for the industry. Yeah.
They want to keep watching that show.
Yeah.
That they're getting on their YouTube TV through their internet.
The point is, if there's a thing that's like $100, because I saw screenshots of like super expensive things that are SNAP EBT eligible. If there's a thing that's like $150 that you can buy with SNAP, you still got to feed your family. And that's the point that people make. I'm like, well, they're still going to buy food. I'm like, yeah, exactly. They're going to do that with their money they already had in their account. Why are we buying this thing that no one needs to be forced to buy for another person, and then they just turn around and use their own money to buy the groceries that their family has to have to survive? That means they have the money to buy the groceries that their family needs to survive. Your family's not going to survive on these lobster tails. I could run through those things before we finish Dumb Bleep number 3. That's hardly any food.
Too small.
At all. Way too tiny. Okay?
I know that the next lady you were reading from was being a bit facetious, but the truth is, yes, you should not be allowed even the smallest joys or comforts when it comes. I'm serious.
You're going harder than I did yesterday.
No, go
That's
back.
fine,
Let me
though.
read that. Go back.
I thought it was this one.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I'm looking here. You took it off the main screen.
Oh, wait, what?
I can't see it on what you're just showing.
Oh, you're watching. I got you. Sorry, I put it back on there.
There we go. Good. Yeah,
There's no glare on this screen,
exactly.
if anyone's wondering.
Yeah. She's saying you should not even be allowed even the smallest joys or comforts. Your every waking moment should be miserable. Yes. Right. Exactly. You want to know why? Because those miserable moments that you're sitting there in the freezing cold, like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka, whatever you want to call it, his family sitting there in a circle, and they can only afford one chocolate bar.
What movie?
They have to split. Willy Wonka or Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
Never heard of it.
And they're all miserable, and yeah, it is kind of sad, but at the same time, maybe that'll get the motivation to light a fire under your ass to go do something constructive for society. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I'm not saying that there aren't some people who truly need help, but as Ron Paul said in the Great Debate, 2008.
Yeah, that's what's officially called.
The Great Debate in 2008.
Yeah.
That prior to government, handouts and welfare, we took care of people that needed help. Like people who genuinely needed help. And even some that didn't, that took advantage of other people offering help. We took care of them. Churches took care of them. Charities took care of them. We didn't let people in America starve in the streets. Like, we don't. And the problem is when you come up with a program like this, even though it may be virtuous at the start, is that it leads to, again, probably the majority of people using the majority of the money that is stolen from people who actually have to go out and work for it to buy the things that aren't necessary to actually keep people alive or keep them from starving. And there is almost nothing in this world that will motivate you more to, feed your family than feeling hungry.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
The way I said it, because I agree with everything you just said. A lot of things I've seen online, even from some friends, by the way, were that people need dignity or whatever, or people don't need to be treated like second-class citizens, or people don't need to be judged for using these programs. And the point I made yesterday was that, like it or not, mean it or not, you are not like everyone else when you're in a grocery store using other people's money to buy your food. Everyone else who's in there who's not doing that, they got their paychecks, they put it in their bank account, they're using their own money to buy anything in the store they want. It's on them. They can do that. They're going to budget. They can buy whatever's in there. But you are using money that if people didn't give you, they'd go to prison until they did give you the money or whatever. And so you're not like everyone else while you're in there. And that might make you feel bad while you're in there. And here's this thing that's not SNAP eligible. And here comes this proud white man who can buy his lobster tails. And now you can't buy your lobster tails or whatever the case may be. Okay, that's fine. You're not using your own money to buy this. So stop being entitled to the money. Say thank you. Actually, thank the guy who's not using SNAP for paying some of his taxes into your account that you're about to buy your rice and beans with. I
see another meme going around that says, if you earn $75,000 a year, you're only paying $36 into SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
Of your taxes. Saw that. Well, guess what? That's $36 too much.
Yeah. Too many.
$36 too many dollars.
The problem is you can do that with literally 20,000 things that you're paying, some of them are pennies that you're paying towards or whatever. But that argument can be made for every single thing that the government does. Oh, you're only paying 85 cents into this program. You're only paying $75 into this program. And each one of those people can say you're only paying this much into it. And so therefore you can never get rid of any of it. So it's not a good argument at all. Okay. We got to move on. We're just going to move on to
what's this?
Matt posted this one in the group. The Temple posted this out. This one accidentally ended up in this slot for number 4. It's not important. I'm not even going to read, but this is not important to the next thing. So here's actual Dumb Bleep number 4. This is a video compilation I made. I will not play the entire thing.
Oh, man.
Well, it's 8 minutes long and we're 44 minutes in. It's actually up to you. You're the one who needs a nap. So,
yeah.
And we're on number 4 now.
I knew this would happen.
I called this one Snappy Bowl.
Like the drink Snapple?
No, Snap People.
Mm.
So these are Snap People that have been posting Snap People things on TikTok and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I bet they're all gems.
So, as a disclaimer, 35% of the people that are on Snap.
I'm getting pissed.
Oh, God. I turned the volume down while I was recording these videos because I can only handle listening to them right now. That's it. 35% of the people getting the benefits are white. Okay. 25% of the people getting the benefits are black. My point of playing this really is that these people are not helping the situation. After you watch this compilation, you're going to be like, yeah, just cut the whole damn thing. Burn the building to the ground. Whatever is it the USDA? Yeah. Burn it down. Just get rid of it. And so anyway, here's this video.
Walmart, my kids, they can get whatever they want. This is how it's looking right now, and we're not even halfway done, y'all. I found these cute little things for their snack time. I think they'll like these. That Maui, wowie. All right, Johnny, you got 2. Robbie, get 1 more. All right, come on, let's go. 2 boxes of pea, let get it. Let go. Let get it. Let go. They gonna try these little cute things in their lunch. If you get it, I'm gonna make you eat it. Get it. Come on. Come on. on, put in the bucket. Y'all knew I was not leaving here without my crab legs. Bye. We checking out. Cart 2.
So I get $3,000 in food stamps. Obviously it's 8 of us, so
$3,000.
That's why I get $3,000. I have no income, so obviously I'm gonna get the full benefit amount. Does that make you mad too?
Yeah, I'm mad.
Does it make you mad that the government is helping me feed my children?
That's $36,000 a year.
Want to punch me in my face?
Hell
Does that
yeah.
make you angry? Does that make you shiver in your boots?
I'm not shivering, no, but punch you in the face, yeah. Kinda.
Be mad. Stay mad.
I just wanted to come real fast just to make this video, just to make something very, very clear to the white man. Black Americans do not care about your government shutdown, and Black Americans do not care about you taking away our EBT and our government assistance, because Black Americans never depended on the American government to take care of us and feed us, because we never could. We were never able to depend on the government, in spite of what you may say and what you may try to force us to believe. So you can sit back and you can mock, you can laugh, and you can think that you're about to starve us to death. But I'm here to let you know that we are going to eat regardless, even if we have to hunt you animals down and roast and eat you. The delectable crackers and cheese. We will make it happen if we have to. Trust and believe me. And if it takes this government shutdown for Black people to finally come from under the government and understand that we don't need to be paying our taxes into this government, what we really need to be doing is taking care of one another, buying land and growing our own food and building our own nation. If this government shutdown and starvation is what it's going to take, then let the party begin.
Beside the whole like eating white people thing, which was kind of strange, the rest of it sounded really libertarian to me.
Yeah, it actually sounded pretty libertarian.
Yeah,
like, hey, we're going to take care of one another, and we're going to grow our own food, and we're not going to depend on the government for stuff.
We're going to buy land. And
okay,
great.
When
Sounds
it comes
awesome.
to eating the crackers,
the last girl asked me if I wanted to punch her in the face, and I said, yeah, kind of now.
She had an extremely... It wouldn't even hurt either. It would mostly just be absorbed. I was peeing during that. Was
$3,000 a month?
Was the screen big enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot for sure. Sorry, there's more.
It's Black Power, baby, and we rise.
Please stop donating meal kits to food pantries. First of all, this is not disability accessible. People have food allergies, people are gluten intolerant, people are lactose intolerant. In fact, a lot of non-white people are lactose intolerant. And this also takes away choice and autonomy to poor people. You're saying, here, I meal planned for you, instead of letting them choose what they should do with the food. And I'm not saying this to be callous, but all of these recipes are for white people. Okay? And people who are not white want to be able to cook the foods that they're familiar with, that their children will eat, that make them feel good or comfortable or, you know, pull at their heartstrings. They should be allowed to uphold their cultural foods and eat their cultural diet.
I had to make sure we broke in here to show you that it's also not good to donate to food pantries to try and help people out, because it's actually racist if you think about it.
Certain things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
You're donating white meals to
these
people.
meal kits, you know, you're trying to help people out.
White meals.
Yeah, don't donate those.
And if a portion of their food benefit is your white-centric, lactose-laden...
Why is the assumption that only white people are going to donate food to people? Sorry.
...meal plan, it's doing more harm than good.
Is it?
Woke up.
Because aren't you going to starve?
I got an email from...
This one could be a joke, by the way, because it's too ridiculous for me to believe it's actually correct. And I do mean it. This could actually be...
Because did they send emails?
Well, a couple people mentioned emails.
Okay.
I don't know. This could be a joke, and I want to lean towards it being a joke, possibly because it's so ridiculous.
EBT, I used to get $740 a month for my 2 kids. And we not getting EBT no more. They took the EBT. They saying I gotta work 20 hours a week. I'm not working for nobody. Get the fuck out of here. This is what Americans, taxpayer, work for us. They work for me. They gotta help me feed my fucking kids. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be quitters now. Y'all been helping us all this fucking time. Now y'all want to tap out. Get the fuck out of here. I want my EBT, yo. I want my EBT, and I'm not working for nobody. I'm a fucking boss. What the fuck I look like working?
And you're not a good
when the
boss.
Government is here to help.
I have a serious question. When are we going to start looting the stores? Because I was stealing before. Now it's full-blown theft. Because what the fuck you mean no food stamps?
I want to be in the grocery store when they start looting it, because you think that people are going to be hungry? You think that these people not going to get their Thanksgiving? Baby, when they run up in there and start stealing them turkeys, oh, it's going to be like Christmas game early up in this bitch.
And I just want to come on here and
Maybe
say
we can't coexist.
to you people that
Some of these, like,
Maybe we can't. Yeah.
We should have. I should have spliced in a Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder and be like, yeah, what's up with the collard green? Yeah.
God.
standing in front of the stores and the Good Samaritans and all of that. When November 1st come, and if they don't uplift this shutdown for these SNAP benefits, I'm going to need y'all to mind y'all business. Please mind y'all business. Those people, they trying to feed their kids, and they trying to go home and just feed their kids. And I would I would hate for you to not be able to make it back to your family and for you to not be able to make it back home because you trying to save these billionaire companies, you hear me, of their funds when they actually have insurance on every box of macaroni in it.
I'm gonna tell y'all straight up like this. I just got that text that the link is definitely cut the fuck off for November. Y'all better stay the fuck out of my way in these stores. I'm walking out with carts and I'm not paying for shit. Trump, if you want motherfuckers start looting, it's gonna happen. Before my kids go broke in this bitch like Jock, I'm gonna be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow. I am going to go in that store, get everything I get regularly. I'm going to bag my shit up, swipe my link card. As soon as that bitch say, ain't no pending balance on there, I'm going to walk the fuck out. And I'm going to have one of my cousins with me that'll punch your ass so hard, you going to think a Jet 2 holiday hit your bitch ass if you think I ain't finna walk out this. And please follow me to that motherfucking car. If you feeling motherfucking froggy, bitch, you ain't going to make it back to your motherfucking position at that fucking Walmart store. I'm telling you. You want to take some link? Like, I don't be taking shit already. Watch this. So.
Okay, we have to stop before I start listening to Nick Fuentes. As I said, the largest share of people on SNAP are white people. Just so everyone knows. Okay. So I refuse to believe that this is the best representation.
What is the
of people on SNAP
by population?
The highest rate per capita of SNAP usage.
It's Black Americans.
It's I actually haven't looked it up. It could be someone else.
No, I'm based on the chart. It's 35% white, 25% Black Americans, and then 19% Hispanics, and then it gets drastically lower from there. So, based on simple math, considering 13% of the population but 25% of the benefits,
yeah,
that they're definitely the number one.
It seems like number one, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number 4. My biggest point on this, now we just got a few videos to play. It's going to be way faster. Probably. Let's make the next like 4 we can do really fast, I promise.
By the way, can we stop talking about reparations now?
Yeah, I think
we've
already been doing reparations,
probably
right?
given plenty of reparations.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure we can stop.
All right, so number 4 is SNAP people. And the biggest, what people got to band together, all the SNAP people out there got to band together and say, y'all SNAP people are not with us. You people, you SNAP people are not with us. Because people have been posting these videos around a lot. When you see this, you're like, oh, I don't care if SNAP ever gets funded ever again. Not one single time. And there are
those of you that actually need it. You need to denounce these people.
Yes, in fact, and if you haven't denounced it,
silence is violence.
Is violence. You beat me to it. All right, number 5. Kamala Harris still thinks she's going to run for president someday again, and she might, in fact, run for president again someday.
She's been making some media rounds lately.
Yeah, and she has decided that the problem with her campaign is that they just didn't go Kamala Harris enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're not enough Kamala.
And now Joe Biden held her back. And
he held her back. I saw that, yeah.
Poor girl.
Her feelings were hurt. Another black woman held down by a black man who she had called racist previously before, but then ended up being his VP. And then
said black man, white man.
White man holding down a black woman.
Old, rich white man.
Yes. Tale as old as America, and it never happened before that. It's just a tale as old as America. Here's a clip. I'm not going to play this whole clip. It was just a pretty funny response by the interviewer because she gets asked a specific question. She goes on to not answer the question, and the interview did a really good job. So here we go. You see this more now because she's not running for president, so we're not in the cycle of the most important election of our lifetime, where democracy is on the ballot. And so now a bunch of these people are like, are you sure about that? Really? So here you go.
Wasn't Joe Biden then, to put it on him, wasn't his refusal to recognize his own frailties the reason that you faced a nearly impossible task?
I ran against Donald Trump for president. And Donald Trump ran on a platform that was in large part, I believe, misrepresenting his intentions to the American people. I do believe that there are a fair number of people that voted for Donald Trump who believed him when he told them that his first priority on day one is going to be to bring down prices. And he didn't. And you combine that misrepresentation of intention with also what was at play in terms of massive amounts of misinformation.
Same people who voted for Biden.
And a truncated calendar in terms of the clock.
I want to interrupt you because that is a world-class pivot, but it is not the question that I asked you, which is about Joe Biden's failure to recognize his own frailties and what that did to you. The question is about Joe Biden. Are you still reluctant to criticize the former president?
The look on her face is like, wait, I thought we were friends. What are you doing here? I love that whole thing there. Like, wasn't this partially Joe Biden's fault?
I like how she gave her a compliment.
Trump. Yeah,
that was a world-class
pivot.
That was
one of the better politician moves I've seen. Is that the filibuster? Is that what you're picking up right there? It's pretty good. Okay, now we're going to talk about young people voting. I think that's going to solve the problem.
I think we should reduce voting age to 16. I'll tell you why.
Because I would have won. No, sorry.
So, Gen Z, they're age about 13 through 27. They've only known the climate crisis. They missed substantial parts of their education because of the pandemic. If they're in high school or college, especially in college, it is very likely that whatever they've chosen as their major for study may not result in an affordable wage. They've coined the term climate anxiety to describe fear of not only being able to buy a home, but that fear will be wiped out by extreme weather, but fear of having children. It is expected that Gen Z will have 10 to 12 jobs in their lifetime. They are a larger number than boomers.
I have to stop. I don't care. I don't care about what she's saying.
Oh, yeah. I lost.
That was awful.
She lost me from when she said, I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you why.
And I didn't care to hear why.
And then everything she listed were the exact reasons that 16-year-olds should not be able to vote, actually. Like everything she said. They were all terrible.
Yeah.
I would vote for Donald Trump for a third term if I thought that she was somehow going to get the voting age lowered down to 16. I would. I might vote for him for dictator if I thought that she was somehow going to get the voting age lowered down to 16.
You would do an all kings protest.
I would. Only kings.
Only kings.
Only
protest,
king.
Yeah.
Protest.
Yeah.
That I would have his family anointed. And
we just seen a whole bunch of adults that shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Let alone kids.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you're a kid, it is not your fault. It's not your fault. You are a kid, but your ideas are stupid. They're not backed up by anything in life other than like what sounds cool to you at all. Yeah, your ideas are so dumb. It doesn't matter if they're rooted in reality whatsoever. And people's ideas these days are getting closer and closer to the ideas of children. But yeah, that's just I
mean, the Bible does say be childlike.
And I think probably like in your wonder, not in the way that you would mass murder millions of people in order to stop the climate change or whatever.
That is true. Yeah. Just making a joke.
So this cat.
By the way, there's a lot more from that Diary of a CEO interview that I'm sure is going to make it on Dumb Bleep next week.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't had time to watch what is like 2.5 hour interview.
It's a long interview.
Yeah.
And I need other people to suffer through.
Yeah. So if you got folks in the Fed Haters Club want to send some clips from that, that'd be great.
Yeah. This person, Kat Abu Ghazala, who's running for Congress in Illinois, sounds like a thing.
Like a state representative?
Says, I would assume so. Says, I've been charged in a federal indictment sought by the Department of Justice. This political prosecution is an attack on all of our First Amendment rights. I'm not backing down. We're going to win.
Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration to criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them. That's why I'm going to fight these unjust charges, but I need your help to do it.
Give me money. Okay, well, here's the protest. We'll just play this. That's her right there.
Is that an ICE vehicle?
Yeah. Okay, when we're trying to move quickly here, the next one, she was confronted about this, and she just dropped off the show because she didn't like that the person played a video of the actual protest. So here's that.
I'm not speaking to the specifics of anything that's in the indictment right now, but like I said, I do plan on pleading not guilty, and the evidence will come out in court, and I plan on winning.
Okay, well, let's not watch the video of what happened that day that they are. But when you see that, what do you think right now?
Tara, once again, this is my first time being federally indicted. Like I said, I plan on pleading not guilty. The evidence will come out in court. And I plan on winning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And she's gone.
She just.
All right.
Thank
see you later.
so much for. That's not really a rage quit.
No, not so much.
She wasn't like you and then clicked off. She was just like, thank you so much for having me. Click.
In some ways, you could also say there's a pending legal case, and I'm pleading not guilty, and so I'm not going to comment on the case.
Yeah.
And so that's a thing too. But this is a political prosecution. I have a tough time saying these things as a libertarian because I always like to think, well, when the ATF rolls into town to confiscate everyone's guns, the least violent thing people are going to do is surround people's vehicles, and try to stop them from going and doing this. But they are carrying out federal law as law enforcement officers, and regardless, it is a crime to do that. And so if you do that and then they indict you for doing this and you call it just a protest, first off, that's not just a protest. You're standing in front of the vehicle, keeping it from moving. That's not what a protest is. And it's not a political prosecution. It's like you're impeding law enforcement officers who are enforcing federal law, which is like the part of their job description, as I just said it. And so, yeah, that's, you're not a victim. Anyhow, let's go. Plus you're white. How can you possibly be a victim?
Well, she is a woman though.
We think so. We'll do the screenshots here. This is AOC responding to Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines says that she wanted to challenge AOC to a debate. Riley Gaines now, I'm pretty sure she's got a show. She does that, right?
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think she has her own podcast.
What losers do.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, she does that. And AOC says, I would like to challenge this person to get a real job, saying that to Riley Gaines. And now you can disagree or agree whether or not speaking to people and people listening to you is a real job. It does take a lot of work.
But hang on. AOC actually said to Riley Gaines, you should have trained harder. So you could have beat boys. That's what it says right there on Fox News.
I don't have it pulled up.
In the screenshot right there, AOC to Riley Gaines, you should have trained harder.
Mm-hmm.
So
that could be the case. The thing that a lot of people don't realize about Riley Gaines is in that tie with what's his
Thomas.
name? There was a tie for like 5th place or something like that. It wasn't like Riley Gaines would have won.
I think she was most upset about him being in the locker room.
Well, that too. Yeah, I'm not saying she doesn't have a case for going around talking about this. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
What AOC is saying, like, well, you should have. There were like 4 other girls who beat Leah Thomas, so in that race. So I guess you should have just been better than that man. It doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to do devil's advocate, literally, right now.
Well, I mean, if women want equality, then yeah, you should train harder.
Yeah,
if that's what your aim is.
But if
your aim is to protect women and children from disgusting demonic men who pretend to be women, then I think what you're doing is just fine.
Yeah, and as someone in the group pointed out, this is what Riley Gaines, I think, at the end of the day really got mad about, was that there was a tie, and I can't remember if it was for 5th or 6th place, whatever it was, and there was only one trophy for that place, and they just gave it to the guy because he said he was a girl, and they thought that was cool, simply for that reason. There was no other reason other than the tiebreaker was the penis. That was it. That was a tiebreaker, and who was going to get the trophy.
Oh, here's AOC's quote. Maybe if you channeled all this anger into swimming faster, you wouldn't have come in 5th. Which is kind of funny.
No,
just on its surface, comedically.
The little dumb inside of this is I want to challenge this person to get a real job. First off, I want to point out that AOC moved from being a bartender to being someone who just what does she do?
She opens a loud mouth.
She makes $175,000 a year, paid for by the taxpayers.
Plus millions in capital gains.
Yeah. Not like Riley Gaines, who any money she makes is voluntary that goes to her. People decide that is a valuable thing in their life, and so they listen to her, and then she gets advertisers and stuff like that. And so that is a valuable thing. That is a job. But AOC's job is to just be insanely annoying while we pay her to be insanely annoying all the time.
Yeah, her job is to cry on Instagram.
She does think it's a real job, though, and that's fine. I don't disagree. Sex work. She had posted earlier that sex work is work. And so we do have a difference here. This person speaks to people for a living. She gets paid money voluntarily because people deem that to be valuable. What AOC has is a real job because she puts a gun to people's head and they give her money, and so that's a real job. And this person bangs people for a living, and that's a real job, too.
Yeah.
Which basically... makes sense. And whatever.
It's the oldest work in the history of the earth. Yeah.
Mamdani said a dumb thing. He's about to become the mayor of New York City. I literally am excited about this. I don't know why so many people are freaking out about it unless you live in New York. If you live in New York, I understand why you're freaking out, but you should have left years ago. I'm actually excited about it because it's going to be real fun to watch.
It'll be a great case study.
Yeah, well, the problem is this has nothing to do with the dumb. Trump has talked about pooling funding from New York and stuff like that. Don't do that. Treat them like any other city, okay? Because as we know from history, if you give them a single out on this thing, where they can say, oh, well, it would have worked if it wouldn't have been for that Trump guy that was in the White House screwing with stuff the whole time. And that's why New York was destroyed, was because Trump was doing whatever Trump was doing during this time. No, let them treat them like every other city and let them get the whole place burned to the ground if that's what happens. But if you give them an out, they're going to take the out. But other than that, let's be excited about what's about to happen. Anyway, he had this to say in his speech last weekend, I think.
We'll make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
What does that even mean?
No New Yorker should ever be priced out of anything they need to survive. And we believe then, we believe today, we will believe tomorrow that it is government's job to deliver that dignity. Dignity, my friends, is another way of saying freedom.
Yep. Same. Jesus Christ.
Just let him do it.
What a way to end the
good.
week.
I checked. We're 900 miles away from New York. We're pretty safe from this whole thing.
Good.
Some of you people are closer. It could end up sucking. I get it. No, dignity is not another way of saying freedom, especially when you define dignity as your right to take things from other people. Dignity can't be another word for freedom. It literally can't. You just define dignity as how you're going to take stuff from other people.
Enslave other people.
Yeah. And dignity is another word for freedom. So freedom is taking things away from other people.
I'm so tired of this false reality gaslighting. Just say shit.
I'm skipping Jennifer Welch. It was dumb. She said that Democrats need to be doing more of this whole Charlie Kirk should be dead thing. That's number 9. I'm skipping it because we got to go. And I have a block called Israel. So we're going to roll through it real quick. So let's all watch this 2-hour, 16-minute long podcast with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. No. So Nick Fuentes was on Tucker Carlson. A lot of people are very upset about that. I'm not a Nick Fuentes fan myself. Sometimes I catch a video will come through my feed and I'll be like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, I don't want to just lump people in groups like that. I'm not a big fan of this whole thing. No, I can't. But whatever. Josh Hammer, who is, I'm not the first person to say this, Josh Hammer is most famous for getting destroyed by Dave Smith in debates. Like that's what
TPUSA event.
That is how Josh Hammer has made his name, is by allowing Dave Smith to make him look like an idiot. And so I think this is Dave Smith's fault, honestly, that people are even paying attention to what Josh Hammer has to say at all. In response to Tucker Carlson having Nick Fuentes, Josh Hammer says, the great Charlie Kirk is rolling in his grave right now. Simply despicable. I don't think so. I think Charlie Kirk was pretty big on people talking.
In fact, didn't Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes talk?
I don't know about that one.
Maybe not on camera.
Yeah. Nick Fuentes was very anti-Charlie Kirk. They used to go and hassle, the Groypers would go and hassle the TPUSA events and stuff. Like they were in a war. Nick Fuentes had declared war, I think, or the Groypers. I get the whole who declared war thing, but, frontwards and backwards. I don't know which one it is. They were not friends. So I will say that. Magoo said Charlie wouldn't talk to Fuentes, the Groper war. Groyper. Not Groper. Sorry. Why Groyper, by the way? Does anyone have an origin story for what that name is? Whatever. Charlie Kirk was pretty big on people talking. Would he agree or disagree with Nick Fuentes being on Tucker Carlson? I don't know. I think he probably agreed with Tucker Carlson's right to have whoever he wanted on the show. That's fine. Nick Fuentes is becoming a really big name right now, like it or not. That is happening currently. And so I think, and also I don't think you should speak for, I don't think you should speak for Charlie Kirk. He just died on September 10th, and he was almost here to tell you whether or not he would agree with this thing. He might have agreed, might not have agreed, but he knows who Tucker Carlson is. He invited him to speak at TPUSA events.
His wife invited him to speak at his memorial.
And then I don't know if he's going to be at the next event or not. I can't remember, but there were talks of that whole thing. Stop Anti-Semitism says Tucker Carlson will be the demise of the Republican Party. This man must be ostracized from public forums, insider circles, and every place in between. Otherwise, the GP will morph into the radical abyss like the Democrats have after failing to rein in AOC, Tlaib, Omar, and their ilk that are out there.
I think they got their 7,000 for this one.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're straight up on the. I've got more to say on that. I've got it here in a sec. I'll look at that again after we go through a couple other things. The Babylon Bee, which I know that they post, parody stuff or whatever, but they also post things like with truth behind them to make political points, which is the funniest thing. Like you say things that are true and you make fun of them, and so. They say Tucker Carlson, their headline is Tucker Carlson releases exclusive interview with dredged up corpse of Osama bin Laden. And, okay, whatever. In my opinion, that would be a pretty interesting interview to watch. I think that'd actually be a very valuable interview for people to watch.
Just like when he interviewed Putin.
Yeah, I think it would be even more valuable than interviewing Putin.
No, I just meant like you should go around and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they may lie, but you should have that information. And decide for yourself. Are they lying? What is their point of view? Why do they feel the way that they feel? Because only then can you actually get to real solutions.
Mm-hmm. So the Heritage Foundation, they came out and said that they were not going to disavow Tucker Carlson. I'm not going to play the video because we're going long on the tooth right now. There's a over 2 minute long video about how they're not going to disavow Tucker Carlson. Some people were happy about that. Some people are upset. This person says, no one's coming to our rescue. Buy guns, buy ammo, train, carry, do it now. And that's because the Heritage Foundation's not going to try and cancel Tucker Carlson. Do people still believe that canceling people works, by the way?
Yeah.
Is that still a belief held by people on the right?
Why do you think Nick Fuentes is so good?
It's like,
why do you think he's gaining traction?
One of the most attempted to canceled persons that there are out there, like him and Alex Jones are two of the most attempted to be canceled people that are out there. It doesn't work. It makes people bigger. Everyone knows this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I wish someone would try to cancel us.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'll skip over this Thomas Massey part when it comes to Israel. So I can play Katie Miller, wife of Stephen Miller, losing her crap on Piers Morgan because, nope, not that one. Because she decided that Cenk Uygur talking bad about Israel is anti-Semitic and would not get him to stop doing that. And Piers wouldn't shut up the racist talk that was happening by talking bad about Israel. And so here's Katie Miller, wife of Stephen Miller, losing her crap.
It immediately comes back to the Jews and the anti-Israel movement instead of actually talking about his viewpoints, which is that he wants to make
Jews. You just said it. You always do that. We say Israel, you say Jews. We say Israel is a government. Please don't make it about Jewish Americans. And you come back and go, you have to make it about Jewish Americans. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Is Israel a Jewish state? Yes or no?
Yeah. First of all, okay, so Saudi Arabia is a Muslim state, and you can criticize it all day long. There's no special protection
because
for
what you're doing is you're decoding language
that
to
calls
Black
themselves
American
a Jewish state or a
and to
Muslim
say that
state.
we should not be here and we should not be in existence, and that you would be happy for other people like Mamdani
No,
to use
I want Israel to be safe.
Nothing of the sort.
Nonsense. You're totally lying. It's very normal for a Miller to be completely and utterly lying.
Quite frankly, I'm really sick and tired of this racist, bigoted rhetoric that comes from people like you against my husband, against my family, and my children. I am raising Jewish children in this country.
Who brought your children into this? What a weirdo.
Piers, I'm going to be done with this if you're going to allow racist and bigoted attacks against one of your commentators just for the sake that he will not
hang on.
speaking.
Casey, to be clear, he inserted
a line that says the Miller's lie. Is that not coded language? Or therefore we are Jewish?
Oh, God. Please leave.
Yes, please.
Stop. Piers, don't try to keep her on the show. Just turn off the camera.
Hit our next guest, Nick Fuentes.
See yourself out the door. Yeah, look. It's not often I agree with Cenk, but he was spot on there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, He literally said Israel, and then she's the one who brought up Jews. You can separate Jewish people from a state.
Yeah.
Like a government.
Clearly.
The Israeli government is not Jewish people.
They're not even religious Jew.
It's totally different. It's like this has become so frustrating that a certain group within a group of people have tried to blur the lines to where, and it's all being funded by AIPAC and the Israeli government, to where you're trying to cancel people or not allow people to talk about, the crimes. It reminds me of when you said anything negative about the Iraqi war or the war on terror, that you were just unpatriotic.
Yeah.
You weren't patriotic. You hated America. You didn't like our troops.
Blame America firster.
Blame
That's
America. You're an anti-interventionalist.
Yes.
You would rather the war be fought over here instead of on the sand.
You're a terrorist sympathizer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the same type of rhetoric that doesn't work, that they're still trying to do, because guess what? The American government committed many war crimes that should be talked about. It doesn't mean that we don't love the troops. Doesn't mean we're not patriotic. In fact, I would argue you're more patriotic.
Yeah.
If like the oath.
That's why Ron Paul got the most donations from the troops.
The oath that these people take is literally to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
And so I would argue you're more patriotic if you are calling out the American government for committing war crimes, or calling out the Israeli government. In fact, you're more for Jewish people if you call out the crimes that the Israeli government is committing and making a bad name, let's say, because they're trying to lump you into that.
Yeah. Imagine the flip side. Like, if you agree with the argument, Charlie, that if people were members of a certain ethnic or religious background, if they formed a government, that you are not allowed to criticize that government, that it means that you are just racist.
Yeah.
That's it. Can you imagine? So, like, that is what you're saying.
You can't criticize
it.
You can't criticize the Catholic Church or the way they handled child pedophilia, because then if you do,
you just bigoted towards
Christians.
Catholics. Yeah.
You hate Christians, and then you hate Jesus.
You're Catholic.
These people are stupid. They're just so dumb.
I brought back up the Stop Anti-Semitism thing because they said Tucker Carlson will be the demise of the Republican Party. I actually think that the Israel thing is going to be the demise of the Republican. If there were a demise of the Republican Party, it's going to be the Israel thing. And it's this war, like a lot of Mamdani support, a lot of the other more radical left-wing people who have a ton of support. It's a lot of people that are upset about the Gaza thing. And you could end up seeing a lot of candidates who are anti-Israel and also radical leftist communists at the same time sweep the election map because so many people are upset about that. And if anything is going to destroy the Republican Party, it's going to be this Israel thing, in my opinion.
Israel first.
Yeah.
The government of Israel first.
And like, who are we? This is so disgusting to me. They're on a ceasefire right now, but they still fire during the ceasefire also. And so they fire and they're like, all right, it's back on. And so it's always because something happened. Like last week, it was because the person drove over an unexploded ordnance and it blew up, and then they made up a fake story about someone shooting the RPG at them. This time, someone popped out of a tunnel and I think killed a soldier. And I believe, now don't fully quote me on this one. From what I heard, even the Israelis were like, yeah, it's possible this guy didn't know about the ceasefire. Imagine Hamas separated over this whole territory. What do you think? They got a text alert? Said ceasefire's on now until when you guys shoot at people, and so we're getting aid right now, so don't shoot anyone. They saw
spray painted that yellow line.
Yeah. They saw that they actually have put up some visible yellow line barricades now. I'm not sure if it's across the entire thing, but it's not obvious that every single person who is in Gaza would even know any of the terms or what's going on at all. And Is there a command structure, a power structure in Hamas where they can just control every single person that they all look up to and salute, like this one special terrorist who's got more power than all the other ones, a higher rank or whatever? They don't even know that. The place is a freaking apocalyptic catastrophe, you know? And so anyway, in response to someone getting killed by a guy, they just went ahead and killed 104 people in a strike, including dozens of children.
And you can't say anything about it.
No, you can't. They're just defending themselves.
Yeah.
This is absolutely disgusting. Even if the guy was like, screw this ceasefire, I'm going to kill that there Israeli soldier. You do not now have the moral backing to go bomb 104 people.
Also, hang on. It says Israel said its overnight strikes were in retaliation for the shooting and killing of an Israeli soldier in Rafah, the southernmost city in Gaza. Why is an Israeli soldier in the southernmost city in Gaza?
Well, they're holding 53% of Gaza still.
The southernmost city of Gaza that Israel has control over, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on their side of the line, I guess. I don't know. No, a soldier getting killed, it is not a moral army. It's not a moral country that then turns around and kills 104 people as a response to that. That at all. I don't know how you think you can have the moral backing to be able to do something like that. 66 women and children, according to local health officials, because one of your guys got killed.
This is what your tax dollars go towards.
We're going to skip 11, and then we'll move on to 12. I already mentioned number 11 a little bit earlier, so we'll skip it. It's Lindsey Graham saying something really dumb, like, I don't know where Rand Paul gets this idea that the president has to get a declaration of war to attack another country. That's essentially it. Yeah.
God. I don't know where Rand Paul gets this notion that you have to ask Congress for a declaration of war.
The next one is J.D. Vance.
I love Trump.
It might be he loves Trump as long as Trump is wanting to do war. That's the biggest thing, because he's hated Trump also in the past, and Trump has hated him. But they align on certain issues. This next one is J.D. Vance, but it's probably not the one that you're thinking of. J.D. Vance did answer a question about Thomas Massie and why Trump was going after Thomas Massie, and a lot of people are upset about that. There's one part that I would take issue with in that, but if you listen to the way that J.D. Vance phrased everything in that answer, he doesn't say like, and so that's why we're going after him. He just says, well, when you vote against your party, like all the time, like this is politics, and these are the kind of things that are going to happen. That's essentially his answer, coupled with like a minute-long thing about how much he loves Thomas Massie.
But it's not true.
Well, the thing that he said that's not true is that he goes against the party. Like he says every single vote, I think is his actual word. Every single issue. Massie has voted Republicans 90% of the issues, actually.
Yeah.
So that is not every single issue.
He said it's not one issue, it's not 3 or 4 issues. Yeah, that's about it. It's about like 3 or 4 issues.
It's actually, the number is like, no, I saw the total. It's 6 total like votes against, 32 in favor.
Yeah.
So you do the math. It's actually 85%, according to the numbers I saw earlier. Here is an answer about the potential for the radical left to misuse their power.
This guy must just listen to our podcast.
And I will, before we play this video, repeat, J.D. Vance is very good at this. He's great. I look forward to seeing him debate in the future in presidential elections. I really want to see J.D. Vance versus AOC. That's what I want to see. Because I think he will crush it. I think
they'd make a great couple.
Yeah, I think he has the ability to make her cry in a debate, and in the latter stages of the debate, maybe even make her eyes pop out of her head. They're going to get so big, and I just think he'll do a great job.
Great TV.
Here's this answer.
I'm just wondering. Well, it's not necessarily something you did wrong, but it's what could someone else do wrong. Let's say we get a complete tyrant in office, and let's say we're having let's say Turning Point USA is having a huge protest against, something really bad that we don't like. And let's say he's, a president is saying that it's getting violent. How can we, I'm trying to think, my mind's kind of blank.
Where is this? I love this guy's accent. I don't know where that's from. Well, that's a pretty cool accent.
He rode a bull to this event. That's for sure. He just took off. He's got straps in the parking lot.
What you're doing, and how could we prevent someone from
They made him remove his spurs.
Yeah. So look, I understand where the question is coming from, and I think it's a fair question. And it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic, and it really is not meant in any offense. But when you talk about what could another administration do, to take a wild hypothetical example totally off the top of my head, what if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents? Okay? So here's something that I want conservatives, I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway.
Not if they don't have the power. Not if they don't have the power to do it.
I get the argument. I understand that the left already sucks. They're really bad. Just take the COVID years. That was really bad. And they didn't have a cognizant guy in the office at that time. Imagine if you had someone who liked power and was there in the head as much as even like Trump is. And it was during the COVID times and you were on the left.
Imagine someone like Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could have been real bad. I think the left is fine with doing all that stuff, which is why we always make fun of people who call Trump a fascist, authoritarian, dictator, tyrant, stuff like that, because the argument is that he's somehow unique from all the other presidents that we've already had. His uniqueness is that he says stuff out loud. That's really it. I do not like this argument, though, at all, because it cannot be the answer. Your answer is that, well, we're just going to keep using as much power as we possibly can because the other guy does it. And so what you're telling me is that, well, you're never going to stop abusing power, and neither are they, because by the way, after you do it, they don't even have to make their moral arguments for why they're going to do it. They say, well, look at all the stuff Trump did, and they'll be right every time they say it. And so then you just continue the cycle until this entire thing implodes or explodes, whichever one it's going to do.
You can't. He says it wrong where he says, like, we can't be afraid to do something just because the left may do it in the future. But that's not really the position you should take when it comes to, let's say, honor and integrity. It's regardless of what someone else is going to do wrong, I'm going to do the right thing and do everything I can to make sure that we move back to a place in which the founders had set up to add protections so that the federal government couldn't run away with an enormous amount of power that would look like a king and do tyrannical things that a king does.
Yeah.
That's because that's the right and moral thing to do. Not, well, the left is going to nominate a king, so we might as well do king stuff because they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And we just got to make sure we get our king in power every 4 years. That is a losing game.
Well, they are ignoring what they pretend like is, well, there's nothing else we can do other than just use as much power as we possibly can. That's the only answer because the left has done it and they will do it too. But there is another answer. They could take steps to take away the powers that the government has.
Yeah, they could.
They might even fail in doing that, but you know how Trump and all these people push really hard on Congress, say when they want to get things like the one big beautiful bill passed, how hard they'll push on people to get those kind of things passed. You ever see them push that hard on making sure that the abolition of the Department of Education was in that bill too at the same time? No, they didn't mention that. None of these other agencies actually. They do them through executive orders or whatever. They take money away from them or they push them under other agencies. They never have this big, massive top-down push from the White House to make sure that we take away these powers from the Department of Justice or from the EPA or whatever. It's all temporary stuff that they do while they're in power, that the next guy can just say, well, just take back everything that guy did. Let's just go back to things the way things used to be. And then that's it. Like on day one, if the next guy can come into office and say, on day one, I will restore the power of the government that the other guy took away for a minute, then you didn't really do anything at all.
Right.
And you're not pushing to do those things because you want to do the things. Just say you want to do the things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The very last part of this is one of the more interesting polls I've ever seen. Actually, one of the more enlightening polls I've seen. This is from Gallup, and they do this all the time. They do this every year, and they ask, these are Americans' views of the federal government and whether or not it has too much power. So the question is whether or not it has too much power. And what you see, they do separate it out by Republicans and Democrats, and a majority of America thinks the government has too much power. I think the average is 62% of America thinks the federal government has too much power right now. That's actually at an all-time high for an average. I don't have that chart pulled in here right now, but that's the all-time high as far as all Americans that took this poll. They do separate it out by Republicans and Democrats. And what you see, if you're watching, is that when there is a Republican in office, Democrats think that the federal government has too much power, and more of them than Republicans do. And when there's a Democrat in office, Republicans are super against government power. The Democrats are not. It goes way down. And then when there's a Republican in office, Democrat number goes up. They think that there's too much power. The Republican number still stayed up pretty high, actually above the Democrats. And then for Democrats during Biden, it drops way down to like 25-30% of them think the federal government has too much power. And like 80% of Republicans think the government has too much power. And then a Republican gets in office, and guess what? The numbers switch back again, where more Democrats than Republicans think that the government has too much power. And it's a disgustingly idiotic way to go about politics, and that's how most people think. And I went ahead and got the averages for you.
Yep, based on who's president.
Literally based on who's president. Democrats during Democrat presidency, 31% of them think the government has too much power. Democrats during a Republican presidency, 50% of them think the government has too much power. This is on average through all the years that are provided in this poll. Republicans during the Republican presidency, 49% of them think that the government has too much power. Republicans during the Democrat presidency, 79% of them think the government has too much power. And what I really see in this chart is that a bunch of y'all people are idiots thinking that the guy you don't like is never going to be in power again. That's literally the only idea in your head. There is no other excuse for what JD Vance just said and what this poll says right here, that you somehow think a person you don't like is never going to be in power ever again. That is the peak of your brain functionality on this topic. I will always love the person who is using this power. That is it. You go no further than that. And that is why, guess what ends up happening? They just always have more power.
This is why if I think we had a really strong independent candidate, they could probably win. Because you can still see the majority, 58% of Republicans and 66% of Democrats right now think the government has too much power. Mm-hmm. So now you got both camps.
Yeah.
And you could, if you could find a way to message it, then that person could be the melee. Could be the melee for America.
Yeah. That's a very much opposite direction of government power. A lot of it anyway. Is he perfect? No.
Some of course people he's not perfect.
Really mad that he's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the more obvious steps in the right direction that I've ever seen in politics.
Yeah.
So I try to not criticize it too much. There are imperfections, sure. Let's get the votes in.
Get your votes in. We gotta
let me try and figure out what we have to vote on here. My God, this is a long show.
Well, Nate's,
there it is.
Your neighbor's a bonus vote.
Yeah. Number 1, SNAP boosts the economy. Number 2, bad stats 101. Number 3, it's the government's job to take care of everyone. Number 4, SNAP people. Number 5, Kamala. Number 6, Kat Abdallah. in Illinois over there. Number 7, AOC, Real Job. Number 8, Mamdani with Dignity. Number 9, Welch, we didn't play that one. Number 10, the Israel Block. Number 11 was Lindsey Graham. We didn't play that one. Number 12, J.D. Vance in these poll results.
This has gone quick. We've got
Snap People. Snap People's going to win.
Easily win.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that one made me so mad.
Yeah, we could have just done that one and said, don't we all agree this is the dumbest thing? And then we would have just had like a 10-minute show and it would have been fine.
Been great.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. All right, y'all. Well, if you enjoyed today's episode, share it around. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to GodHatesFeds.com. Get you some merchandise there. Click the little button that says Join GML or head to joingml.com. We've got some new members, so really appreciate y'all coming in to join the Fed Haters Club. Make sure you are here to get your vote in and visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support the show. If you do all of that, then we'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.